Welcome, everyone, to Southern Virginia University Softball. I'm Jim Bresnahan. I'm joined by Sam Horman, and we are ready to bring you night softball this afternoon from the fields at Southern Virginia University as the Southern Virginia University softball team gets ready to play host to the Wilson Phoenix out of Pennsylvania. As the Knights are trying to rebound from a doubleheader loss to Guilford on Wednesday. They come into the game 2-8 on the season, Sam, and as far as that doubleheader loss was concerned, to Guilford on Wednesday, kind of deceiving. They ended up losing both games by 8 runs, but in the first game, they went to extra innings into the 8th inning, tied 5, and then gave up 8 in the 8th inning to lose 13-5. And in the second game, the Knights actually were very close, 4-2, heading into the 5th inning, and then ended up giving 6 runs up to make it 10-2, and of course that was the final there. But in both games, the Knights played very well and scored early. They scored 4 runs in their first game with a doubleheader to take a 4-1 lead. Could not hold that lead, obviously, and scored 2 in the second game in the first inning to, again, take the lead in game number 2. But, again, lost both games of those doubleheader on Wednesday to Guilford.
Yeah, and those were tough, absolutely. Obviously, you know, they had a chance in the game, but what we did like to see is they scored early. That was something that they missed in their first few games of the season. They did pretty well against Lancaster Bible, scoring early, and it really kept Lancaster out of the game. So even though they did end up losing to Guilford, obviously scoring early is going to be a big thing for them, and I think they're going to be looking to repeat that again today. So we'll see how Megan Harmon does here.
And Megan Harmon will be the starting pitcher for the Knights here in game 1. We'll see if Melanie Payton gets the start in game 2. We're only webcasting the first game of this doubleheader today. Hornberger is the leadoff hitter for Wilson, Jennifer Hornberger. She hits left, senior. Heather Terranova is the catcher for the Knights. First baseman, Molly Gabbard. The second baseman for the Knights, Michaela Johnson. At shortstop today will be Bethany Hudson. Knights are shaking up the rotation a little bit, and that Helms, who had been in center field, is starting in right field today. Tara Hilton is the starting center fielder. She had been starting in right field. The left fielder is going to be Madison Rigby. She had been playing at third base. And it looks like the Knights will play at third base today, Caitlin Barber in game 1.
Now, interesting here, you can see the Phoenix, their first batter, already trying to get a good hit here. You see the infield for the Knights playing pretty shallow in. Looks like she's really pretty far out of the box before it even gets there, so they're definitely looking to get on base early here.
And that is a rule, of course, that we've been seeing called more and more this season, where you cannot leave the batter's box before the bat makes contact with the ball, so you can't really do some sort of drag running bunt as that ball is hit down the left field line foul. But we've seen a lot of hitters, slap hitters maybe, who like to either drag bunt or slap it to the left side if they're left-handed hitters. And, of course, they want to get to first base as quick as possible, but you cannot leave that batter's box early.
Yeah, and you can tell the Knights have obviously tried to adjust for this. They brought their third baseman and second baseman in pretty far. Let's see if they can make a play here.
That one's fouled back. Jordan Stites, who usually is the left fielder, she's going to be the designated player today, and she'll hit cleanup. Knights have, the last few games, their defense had been improving, Sam, but in the last few games it's kind of struggled a little bit. They had a lot of errors in that second game loss to Guilford on Wednesday, and of course the cold temperatures on Wednesday might have had something to do with that.
Yeah, I definitely think it does. Obviously today not incredibly warm, but a lot up from the last game they played. It's very windy today though, and I think that definitely factors in a lot with the pitcher as well. Just the grip on the ball makes a big difference, and so I think the wind's going to be the biggest role today.
Harmon's pitch looks like it's low. Yeah, it had to be hard on Megan Harmon in that first game, going into the 8th inning with all the pitches she had thrown, especially with those cold temperatures and the wind gusts. I know the players and the coaches and the fans, too, probably dreaming of maybe games in April when it's going to be 75 or 80 degrees as that ball's popped up and it goes foul again.
Seen her hit quite a few of those, so she's pretty close to getting a pitch here from Megan Harmon, but so far she's fouled away 3 or 4 of them and she's not able to connect.
Hornberger isn't really trying to bunt the ball so much down the third baseline as she's just trying to slap it over the third baseman's head into short left field.
It looks like she may be hitting it a little bit hard too, because even that foul ball is just past the third base. So.
And walk is wangled as that last pitch was into the dirt for ball 4, and so Hornberger draws the walk, and we'll see if she is going to be a threat to go on the base pass. She's 5'2", and looks like she's got a lot of speed.
That's a tough at bat right there. She took quite a few pitches, but managed to get on base with a walk. That's pretty impressive given the 4 or 5 foul balls there.
Allie Sherman is the hitter. There goes the steal attempt, and the ball thrown into center field as the shortstop was late getting to second base. Even if the shortstop hadn't been able to get over there, Bethany Hudson, to receive the throw, it looked like the attempt by the base stealer, Hornberger, was going to be successful no matter what.
Yeah, she was definitely going for that even before that pitch was done, so she's definitely not afraid to steal some bases here, and the Phoenix looking to score early.
And don't rule out a steal at third base. That ball bunted well. It might be bunted for a base hit. They throw to first, and it's safe at first base. And so just like that, the Wilson Phoenix have runners at the corners and nobody out here in the first inning.
That is a pretty perfectly well executed bunt right there. It's just far enough that the catcher couldn't get to it, but just close enough that only the first baseman really had to play. But by the time she managed to get to it, a very quick runner to first there. She was already on base.
And now Rachel Hilbish will be the hitter. She's another left-hander. Runners at the corners, nobody out. There's another steal attempt. They fake, they try to throw back, and they get her at third base. What a great play by the catcher, Heather Terranova, as Wilson was trying to go with a double steal to try to draw a throw down to second, and Terranova made the fake throw to second. And over at first base, Sam Hornberger, over at third base, Hornberger just got enough from the bag, and Terranova was able to get her.
That's a really smart play there by the Knights. You can see she was leading off. Obviously, they were really looking to get that run, but not able to with a great throw from Heather Terranova.
Wilson coming into the game 0-3 on the season. They have had problems really getting people out. Sam will see how the Knights do offensively, because a few days ago, Roanoke was able to score 22 on Wilson. Obviously in 5 innings, as the throw over from third base. Good play by the Knights on the infield to pick up the second out, as the third baseman was able to get that fire throw over to the first baseman. Molly Gabbard in plenty of time.
Another smart play there by the Knights. Do have to give up third base, unfortunately, but I think given the way they're playing, they seem to be pretty confident about it. And obviously they can throw down to third if they need to get an out. So that's a smart play there by the Knights.
And again, Kaylin Barber at third base today. Madison Rigby has been playing there, of course, with a doubleheader. Coach Pendleton trying to shake things up a little bit, move everybody around, keep everybody fresh for 2 games. 2 outs, runner at third. Harmon trying to get that third out, and there's a called strike.
That's good. Now she's just got to settle in. She's faced a couple batters. It's just time to throw a few strikes and just try to end this inning.
Megan Bradley is the hitter, runner at third base, and 2 gone for Wilson here in the first inning. And that pitch is high and away. Fake throw by Terranova. If Megan Harmon has had one downfall early in the season, Sam, it's just at times losing her control.
Yeah, I think so. She's usually pretty good in the mental game, especially, but occasionally she will.
Chopper, they're going to have to go throw over, and they make the play as Gabbard fires over to the second baseman, Michaela Johnson, and that was a good play by the first baseman and the second baseman, Sam, for the third out.
Yeah, absolutely. That's just well played there by the Knights.
And so we'll go to the bottom of the first. No score here from Southern Virginia University. ready to go. Bottom of the first inning after the Knights were able to dodge a bullet in that top of the first inning, Sam, as Wilson got the first couple of runners on, had runners at the corners and nobody out, and they did not score.
Yeah, some good defense there by the Knights. I was a little nervous, honestly. They did have a couple runners on third at times, but managed to not give up any runs.
Heather Terranova is going to be the leadoff hitter. It actually was going to be second and third and nobody out, but on the steal attempt to second base, the runner at third strayed too far off, and that really changed the inning around.
Yeah, definitely. It gave a lot of momentum for the Knights because I think they were a little bit behind up until then.
And Terranova drives the ball, but it's going to be foul way down the left field line and out of play.
That's a big shift from the top of the first as well. We saw a lot of just simple bunts or slap hits from the Phoenix, but the Knights coming out strong. Heather Terranova almost connecting big on that one.
Megan Potter, sophomore, is the right-handed pitcher, starting pitcher for Wilson here in game one. And Terranova drives that one to center field, and it hangs up and goes by the center fielder for a single. And Terranova will stay right there. And now the Knights will send up Megan Harmon.
That's a good opening for the Knights. That's exactly what they need. She got enough power on it. It dropped right in front of the center fielder. I thought she might have had a play on it, but fell just short. So now we'll see what Megan Harmon can do here.
With Madison Rigby on deck, and then Jordan Stites, the cleanup hitter. Knights hoping for a big inning here in inning number one. That pitch is popped up, and it's out of play. Knights were able to score in the first inning in both games against Guilford on Wednesday, scoring 4 in the first game and I believe 2 in the second game. But they had a hard time really scoring runs beyond the first inning of that doubleheader against Guilford on Wednesday.
Which is kind of interesting because that was their strategy last Saturday. They just got about 4 runs in the first inning, and it really just kept them in the game.
Harmon trying to get on. Trying to move Terranova over if she's not able to get a hit. Hits that ball to left field, and it's going to be foul. Harmon trying to go the other way, that time down the left field line.
Both batters have had a hit pretty close to there in foul territory, unfortunately, but it seems to be a good spot. The Knights are getting a piece of the ball.
Got a doubleheader today. We will have the first game for you, not the second game. That ball punched to left field and foul again. Megan Harmon is trying to go down the left field line at least the last few times. Busy sports weekend, of course. Volleyball coming up, a home game, I think, against Messiah today at 5 o'clock. Tomorrow we've got men's lacrosse on the road at Rhodes. Women's lacrosse at home against Mary Washington tomorrow at noon. Women's softball tomorrow, a doubleheader against Karn. And, of course, men's baseball is in action over at Perry McClure today, hosting Canton out of New York, and they'll also play them tomorrow morning at 10:30.
A busy week for baseball as well. They've had quite a few games this week because of rescheduling and things.
They played on Thursday, losing to Lynchburg. And also lost a heartbreaker earlier in the week to Washington Lee. Let's see if Megan Harmon can get on base here. Again, Rigby, the on-deck hitter. That ball stroked right up the middle and into left field for a base hit. As we've got first and second and nobody out, so Terranova get a single to center field, and Harmon that time moving the ball towards left center for a base hit. And so the Knights have their first 2 runners on. Nobody gone here in the bottom of the first, and Madison Rigby, now the hitter, who had been playing third base, and again is the starting left fielder today.
Yeah, I think the Knights maybe need to make a little adjustment to their batting. They're pushing these pretty far into left field. We saw Heather Terranova make the adjustment, hit it right into center. Harmon there still getting on base, good hit, but just pushing it to left as well. I think if they're just a little bit earlier to the swing, maybe able to put it somewhere else.
And that pitch is high and away from Rigby. Terranova and Harmon have decent speed on the base paths. Neither one really a stolen base threat right now. And of course, the Knights are not going to try to run themselves out of a big inning here.
Yeah, absolutely. With no outs especially. They're just seeing what they can get from their batters here, which so far has been great.
There's a called strike. So it's 1-1 now on Rigby. Ken Stites will be the on-deck hitter, and then Hilton Gabbert moved up in the batting order today. She is hitting 6th. In the past, she'd been hitting 8th. Potter's pitch, called strike. Rigby has looked at a couple now. See if she turns the bat loose now. And we'll see what kind of pitch Potter gives her after that called strike on the outside corner. Oh, she struck out. Kind of a half-hearted wave on that one, Sam. And Madison Rigby not able to get the job done with the strikeout. First out of the inning, and the batters remain at first and second.
Yeah, it looked like Rigby was kind of taking the pitches that Harmon and Terranova were both swinging at. And even though they hit him foul, it looked like Rigby was just kind of waiting for her pitch. And then I think she just decided too late on that one, kind of threw her hands. And unfortunately, strike 3 there.
Jordan Stites will try it now as he takes a called strike. Knights were hoping for a big inning, getting the first 2 runners on. They're still at first and second. Now 1 out. Stites really needs to get a base hit here. He's almost a gapper, I would think, to bring Terranova, the catcher, in from second base. That ball is stroked up the middle for a hit. And it'll be station-to-station baseball. Terranova not able to advance to home. Bases loaded, 1 out. And now Tara Hilton will come to the plate, and she's a very good athlete, a good hitter. And she would love to put this one in the gap, maybe. That could easily bring home 2 runs. And with Stites' speed at first base, could bring all 3 home. We'll see what Hilton can do right here.
Yeah, I think this is a great batter to have for the Knights. She's hit in a few RBIs already this season, so I wouldn't be surprised to see her swinging at some of these pitches pretty early.
Called strike there. Potter throwing strikes. Trying to get out of a bases-loaded jam here in the bottom of the first for the Wilson Phoenix out of Chambersburg, Pennsylvania. 1-1 to Hilton. She shows bunt. She pops it up. And they get the force at the plate. Hilton bunting, trying to bunt home a run, and it ends up being a force at home. And now it's bases loaded, but there are 2 outs for the Knights. And it's going to take a base hit here from Gabbert.
It's kind of unfortunate there. She was trying to push that bunt down the first base line, it looked like, and just came off the top of her bat, came up in the air a little bit, kept it too close to home for Terranova to make it in. So unfortunately not able to get a run on that one, but I like the idea because the Knights are pushing for that run, and unfortunately they gave up the out without the run.
Gabbert needs a base hit here and takes a called strike. Potter, the right-handed pitcher for Wilson, is throwing strikes. She's going right after the hitters. Despite having given up 2 hits to the first 2 batters, she has battled back. Stroke to right field for a base hit for Gabbert. Good bit of hitting there. The Knights will get 2 runs, and it's going to be first and third. 2 runners home on Gabbert's little single past the first baseman into short right field.
See, and that's great. It looked like she was able to get around on it and push it down the first baseline. As we've seen, the first couple batters had that third baseline shot, and that's what allowed those 2 runners to come around third and both get runs. So that's great to see from the Knights. Make the adjustment. Potter on the mound has been doing really good, so I like the adjustment there from the Knights and push it down the first baseline.
And now Michaela Johnson comes to the plate. And she's been doing very well at the bat here lately as well. And again, a hit here would make it maybe 3-0. And Michaela Johnson, right off the bat, takes a called strike. Johnson, the hitter, followed by freshman Caitlin Barber, who is getting the start today at third base. Runners at the corners and 2 out and a swing and a miss. And now 0-2 on Michaela Johnson.
She was pretty ahead on that pitch. She was a little off speed, so she wasn't quite ready for it. Like she swung a little bit early there.
That ball fouled away. 0-2. Potter's got a chance maybe to waste one, Sam, maybe outside or down low to get maybe Michaela Johnson to chase a third strike, but it looks like for the most part she's going right after the hitters.
Yeah, I'd definitely try to test the corners here. Obviously, you got a few pitches to try to get that third strike.
Johnson fouls that one off, stays alive.
I think so far she has thrown quite a few right down the middle. Knights have really made a lot of contact with it. They have gotten a few hits, but they've gotten plenty of foul balls, so they're very close to kind of breaking this one open. But in this situation, if I'm pitching, I'm trying to throw them outside or inside or somewhere else, because clearly the Knights are getting really close to getting some big hits. They've already gotten a couple, got 2 runs, so I'm trying to shake it up a little bit and throw it outside maybe.
And they've taken a few called strikes. I know they like to wait the pitchers out sometimes, so those pitchers who have control problems, but it doesn't look like Potter's got any control problems, at least right now, and she's putting the ball right down the middle of the plate for the most part.
Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't be surprised to see the Knights get a big connection here. She's already gotten close a couple times.
Johnson hits it slow to third base. A low throw, dug out, and that is the 3rd out of the inning as the Knights were able to score 2 in the first. We'll go to the top of the second. It is 2-0, Knights on top.
At the bottom of the first inning, the Knights scored 2 runs, had 4 hits, 0 errors, and there were 2 left on base.
Jim Bresnahan, Sam Horman back here with you at the fields at Southern Virginia University. Knights were able to score 2 in the bottom of the first, so Southern Virginia's on top here, 2-0 as we start the top of the second inning. And Megan Harmon worked out of a first and third, nobody out jam in the top of the first, and we'll see if she can maybe get a 1-2-3 inning here in inning number 2.
Yeah, I think the team's so far pretty evenly matched, but the Knights just had a little bit of an edge there with their defense, made a couple clutch plays, and she managed to get a few better hits. Phoenix so far playing pretty shallow.
Megan Harmon working really all areas of the plate as opposed to the opposing starting pitcher Potter, who's been basically throwing it right down the middle.
Yeah, I kind of like Harmon's strategy a little bit more, to be honest. She's testing the batters.
Punch to right field, base hit, got by Helms, had a little spin to it, and it's going to wind up being a 2-base hit for the Wilson Phoenix. A hit there by number 11, Jenna Carty, the freshman, hitting it right down the right field line. That's a tough ball to handle if you're the right fielder with that ball spinning like that.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that's the first time we've seen the Phoenix really try to get a big hit. A lot of their previous batters were bunting and doing some slap hitting, so that's the first big hit there for the Phoenix, and now the Knights got to be on edge a little bit more.
Allison Shockey now the hitter for the Wilson Phoenix with a runner at second base. So for the second straight inning, the Wilson Phoenix have a runner at second base with nobody out. They actually had first and third, nobody out, and the top of the first could not score. Now they've got a runner at second base, nobody out here in the second inning. Called strike. Just by the looks of Wilson Phoenix, it looks like with obviously the speedier base runners, they'll try to steal bases. They'll bunt the ball. They're really looking to score runs, not by bunches, just trying to maybe punch a couple of runs together.
Yeah, absolutely. They definitely showed that with the top of their lineup. That mostly they're just trying to get on base, and then once they do, they can work around the bases even off of just pitches. But I think we saw a pretty big hit there in the middle of their lineup, and now let's see what the bottom can bring here.
Foreman would love to get a pop-up or a strikeout here with nobody out and a runner already in scoring position. That one rolls up there. They throw down, and Carty easily back to second base. That one just got away there from Megan Harmon.
Yeah, you wonder if the cold affecting the grip on the ball there. It's pretty cold and windy today, but
just like Wednesday for Megan when she had to pitch 8 innings of baseball in game 1 against Guilford. Good swinging strike there for Megan Harmon. Gets the batter out, and that's exactly what she needed with nobody out and a runner at second. Really needed to get an out where the runner did not advance, and the strikeout is just what she wanted and just what she got.
Yeah, and that shows a lot of mental toughness as well with the last pitch. Bouncing twice before it even hit the plate and then coming back and just throwing one right down the middle and getting ahead of the batter. So that's a great strikeout for Megan Harmon to keep herself mentally in the game.
Jennifer Kale now the hitter. Called strike. Carty, the runner at second, has really shown no inclination to try to steal third base. Harmon's next pitch, another called strike right there. And quickly she's ahead of the hitter, 0-2. And Megan actually pitched pretty well in that first game against Guilford. Allowed 5 runs, had some errors behind her. And maybe the cold temperatures just caught up with her in the 8th inning when they gave up 8 runs to Guilford in the 8th inning. And the ball got away from Terranova, and it allows Carty to move from second over to third. So now a wild pitch would score potentially a run. Obviously a hit will, but then again, if Megan Harmon can get another strikeout here, she'll put herself in pretty good shape.
Yeah, and that's what happened last time. She had a pitch that got away from her, and then she just came back with some heat and struck him out. So I'm sure she's looking to do the same thing here.
That ball is outside. Terranova tried to frame it for the ump. Nothing. Knights on top, runner at third. Only one out here in the second inning for the Wilson Phoenix. There's the strikeout, the throw down, the runner's back, but the strikeout is what the Knights needed. So Megan with her second strikeout in the second inning. And now there are 2 outs with a runner at third base. And coming to the plate now, looks like Ashley Horn will be the hitter. But it's going to take a base hit or obviously a wild pitch to score for Wilson Phoenix. They've got 2 outs and a runner at third.
And it seems like Megan Harmon's pretty strong here, so they're asking for a lot from her.
That pitch looked like it was close. Almost the way that Megan kind of hesitated after she got the ball back. She was maybe debating whether that was a called strike or not, but it was obviously ruled a ball. That pitch is low. Good play there by Terranova to dig it out.
There's the pitch that gets away from Harmon, so now she usually comes back and strikes him out.
2-0 the count. Harmon's got 2 strikeouts here in the second inning. Put a little something off that pitch and gets the called strike, so it's 2-1 now. Megan trying for another shutout inning and then maybe turning it over the offense, which was able to get 2 runs in the first inning. Harmon's next pitch is grounded foul, and now she's got 2 strikes on the hitter. But Megan would love to strike out the side if she can get the 3rd strike on the hitter Horn. Roped. It hit the base runner, and it hit her in foul territory. So it's just basically a foul strike. But Carty, the base runner, really got hit hard by that ball off the bat of Horn. And you got to believe that Carty, if she is okay, she might be coming out of the game here.
Yeah, that was a really hard hit there, and it looked like it just caught her on the left foot. As you mentioned, she was in foul territory, so it's essentially just a strike. But
that's going to hurt no matter what. But in these temperatures, it probably is pronounced pain.
Yeah, absolutely. She went down immediately.
If that had occurred in fair territory, I believe that would have been the 3rd out. But again, it looked like she got hit in foul territory, so it's basically just a foul strike. Taking their time to make sure that Carty is okay to get up. And hard to believe she'd stay in the game, Sam, but she looks like she's trying to walk it off, and you got to admire that.
Yeah, I think it looked like she tried to jump out of the way of it, and so her foot wasn't on the ground when it hit. That may have helped a little bit, but I can't imagine that would really do that much. She's definitely testing it pretty gingerly here. That's pretty tough if she manages to just stay on third there.
And Horn, by the way, really hit that ball with authority, a couple of inches maybe to the right, and that ball's into left field. Looks like the Wilson coaches want to see if she wants to stay in the game or maybe wants a base runner to replace her. Megan Harmon just trying to stay sharp by throwing the ball to the infielders, as it looks like Carty's going to stay at third base. And again, you really got to tip your hat off to her, taking a shot like that and staying in the game.
Yeah, that's incredibly tough, given especially how cold it is. So Megan Harmon only one strike away, but mental toughness for the Phoenix here as well, clearly shown.
See if Megan can battle back and pick up that third strikeout of the inning. That ball grounded right back up the middle. We're going to have to hurry. Johnson fires over and makes the play. Michaela Johnson with the throw from second base, and the Phoenix do not score. We'll go to the bottom of the second with the Knights on top here, 2-0. The Knights have been able to shut out the Wilson Phoenix in the first two innings, dodging a lot of base runners, and still have the lead here, 2-0, as we go to the bottom of the second inning.
Man, their defense has really saved them. They've left someone on third in both of the innings so far, so you can see their defense being able to make the plays despite giving up a couple of runs.
And Caitlin Barber will start things off for the Knights here in the bottom of the second inning. The key hit so far was Gavert's short single to right field that was able to get two runners home. That hit came with the bases loaded. Bottom of the order here, Barber, then Hudson, and then Helms. Pitch is low. Barber again, just a freshman, playing at third base today. Rigby had been playing third, and Stites had been playing left field, but Stites is the designated player today. And again, Barber's getting the start at third base. That pitch right on the corner for a strike.
Looks like Potter might be trying to shift up what she's done so far and throw him a little bit more variety. She was pretty straight with a lot of her pitches initially, and that looks like she's trying to throw them around a little bit more.
Popped up, and it's going to land in the infield, and Barber beats it out. No! A signal that she is out. It looked to me like she was almost a sure thing to get there before the ball got there, Sam, but they ruled that she is out at first base.
Yeah, that was a pretty interesting little pop-up there. It looked like the second baseman and the shortstop both took a step backwards initially. I thought it would give her enough time to get to first, but they made a good throw and looked like a close play, but she was out there.
And Hudson is now the hitter. Bethany Hudson, another freshman. She's really been hitting very well of late and playing outstanding defense at shortstop. Holmes is the on-deck hitter. Hudson trying to get something started. That pitch is high and away.
Potter's definitely thrown a little bit more variety. She's gone low and outside, a little bit high too.
Pops it up on the infield, and it is going to be almost out of play. The catcher had a shot at it, Sam, but misjudged it near the fence and could not bring it home, so Hudson stays alive.
That is a tough one because she was very, very close to the fence. Obviously doesn't want to just run into it, wants to make the play. It looked like she did have a chance for it, but she's not able to catch that one.
Potter ready again to go after Hudson after getting the first hitter. Called strike, and it's a strikeout. So 2 are gone, and here comes Heather Terranova, the leadoff hitter to the plate. 2 quick outs for the Knights here to start this bottom of the second inning. So Terranova will come to the plate with nobody on base and 2 outs for the Knights in the second inning. Megan Harmon is on deck. Terranova got a base hit the first time up. Potter took something off that pitch, and it's going to be a ball to Terranova.
Rex took a little bit too much off that one, trying for the off speed, but it almost made.
Terranova, just like the first time, hits it right up the middle to center field for a base hit. So here comes Megan Harmon, who got her hit to left field the first time up. But there's 2 outs in the inning. Terranova delivering with her second hit of the game. And now Megan Harmon will try to get a base hit to keep this inning alive for the number 3 hitter in Madison Rigby.
Yeah, Terranova's definitely got Potter figured out here. She's hit 2 right back at her.
Knights trying to get something started with 2 outs. They scored 2 in the first and lead 2-0 here in the bottom of the second inning. There's a called strike. Terranova back on the throw down to first base. Again, it's a doubleheader today. We'll only webcast game number 1. Tomorrow the Knights will be hosting a doubleheader against Karn, and then I believe they've got a few more doubleheaders coming up next week and the following week before they'll actually start conference play against Penn State Harrisburg at the very end of the month of March. Pitch is popped up and out of play. So the Knights are trying to, obviously, Sam, in as many non-conference doubleheaders as possible, get as much action in, stay away from the rainouts and the postponements, and get as much action in before conference play starts.
Yeah, they're definitely not managing to stay away from the cold, I can tell you that. But
no question about that. That pitch is hit down the line and foul. Megan Harmon again trying to go down the left field line.
She's really testing that third baseman there. She's hit about 3 or 4 foul balls in her 2 at-bats so far down that third base line. Maybe just get around a little bit quicker, and then she can push it like Terranova towards center field.
Well, it's supposed to be cold tomorrow. We got baseball, I believe, taking place this afternoon as well as tomorrow morning as Harmon strokes that ball to center field for a base hit. And it's first and second. Terranova will stay at second base, and now Rigby will come to the plate. She struck out the first time up, and she's got a chance here with a base hit to maybe deliver a run.
Yeah, and I think, too, a great adjustment there by Harmon. She was pushing those down the third base line, but she managed to get around on that one a little bit more, put it right into center. Maybe she's listening to the commentary. Who knows?
And Madison Rigby's got a chance again with a base hit. It's going to have to be a base hit of some proportion. Terranova, the catcher, doesn't have great speed at second base. That pitch is ruled a ball. So Rigby would love to maybe get one in the gap, in which case she might be able to get both runners home.
I think Rigby just needs to start swinging to her first at bat. She seemed a little timid, let a few pitches go by.
She pops that one up, and it's going to be out of play.
That's what we like to see, though, coming on a little bit stronger, really trying to test it. Knights really have gotten a lot of bats on the balls here, but just need to push them in the right direction.
And love to get her on with a base hit and a run home, because following her will be Stites and then Hilton, 2 good hitters. So we'll see if Rigby can deliver here with 2 outs in the inning. fouls it off. Big opportunity here for the Knights with runners at first and second. 2 outs in the inning, though. Rigby trying to get a hit to keep this inning going and takes a ball. Wouldn't mind a walk, though. That would load him up for Stites, the cleanup hitter. That pitch is popped up and going to be out of play. Right behind home plate, so Rigby stays alive with those 2 strikes on her.
Knights are also doing a smart thing here, playing a little bit of a mental game with the pitcher. Terranova and Harmon are both kind of talking to each other on the bases and leading off pretty far. Obviously, the Phoenix having a hard time bringing over their shortstop in case Rigby hits it there, but I think it's smart by Terranova and Harmon to be kind of testing the catcher and the pitcher here, leading off a little bit extra.
Another foul off by Madison Rigby. Just has really not been able to get around on Potter's pitches so far. And she is trying to connect with one to give the Knights their 3rd run of the game. That pitch nowhere near the strike zone. Let's see on this pitch if Potter comes right down Broadway with the pitch right over the middle of the plate for Madison Rigby. Another pop-up and another one that'll go out of play.
Been a long at bat for Rigby here. She's gotten 7 or 8 pitches. She's fouled off 3 or 4. Be great to see her get a piece of something and see if they can get a run here.
Terranova's the runner at second. Harmon is the runner at first. 2 are out for the Knights here in the bottom of the 2nd inning, and Rigby's trying to get something out of the infield. Swung on and missed, and she strikes out for the 2nd time today. The Knights do not score. We'll go to the 3rd inning with Southern Virginia on top here, 2-0.
In the bottom of the 2nd, the Knights scored 0, had 2 hits, 0 errors, and left 2.
Welcome back to Southern Virginia. I'm Jim Bresnahan, joined by Sam Horman, bringing you Knights softball today here in the first game of this doubleheader against the Wilson Phoenix out of Chambersburg, Pennsylvania, starting the 3rd inning, and the Knights lead here 2-0. Megan Harmon trying for her 3rd shutout inning. And that pitch is dribbled right back to Megan. Good snap, grab by Megan, and she fires over and makes the play. Megan Harmon, a very good fielding defensive pitcher, who was able to make that grab, Sam, and quickly turn on the dime and throw that ball to first base because the hitter actually had some pretty good speed.
Yeah, and luckily the Knights look pretty ready for it. They've brought in their 2nd and 3rd baseman. Obviously Megan Harmon right in the middle doing a good job making the play there, but the Knights look ready for this short hitting game that the Phoenix use in the top of their lineup.
And unlike the first 2 innings, Megan Harmon here in the 3rd inning, Sam able to get that first hitter out. Because Wilson's had some opportunities to score runs in their first 2 innings, and Megan Harmon would love to have a 1-2-3 inning here in the top of the 3rd.
Would be a big advantage for the Knights, especially because the Phoenix do seem to be pretty good base runners. Stolen a couple bases, and they know how to move them around, so good to get that first out of the way.
Hornberger is the hitter. She was able to get on base the first inning and actually got a steal and then got picked off at third base, which really changed the momentum in that first inning for Wilson. Swinging strike there. Mentioned that baseball was supposed to be playing Canton this afternoon. They'll play again tomorrow morning at 10:30. Mary Washington in women's lacrosse, the opponent on Saturday. Men's lacrosse playing on the road at Rhodes. Men's volleyball playing, I believe, against Messiah at 5 o'clock today. You wonder, as far as the outdoor sports, lacrosse, baseball, and softball, which one's the hardest for the players when you're talking about, 40 degrees and wind gusts as Megan Harmon gets the strikeout? I'm guessing it's either softball or baseball.
I would guess so as well. Lacrosse, obviously, with a lot of running, kind of helps a little bit, but, in a sport as precise as this, with a grip on the ball especially, can really make a difference at temperature.
Not sure if for baseball or for that matter softball with the aluminum bats versus the wooden bats, if you probably obviously don't get as much of a reverb in the cold weather.
Definitely not.
Megan Harmon looking for a 1-2-3 inning here in the 3rd inning. Sails that one in for a strike. It's almost like Megan has realized that maybe Wilson doesn't have a lot of power, and she's going right after the hitters now. Puts that one on the corner outside for a ball. Swinging strike there.
It was a very different pitch than we've seen from Megan Harmon. A little bit inside and lower, a little bit slower as well.
Megan's already had several strikeouts in this game, and she's looking for her first 1-2-3 inning here in the 3rd inning, and that pitch is stroked but foul down the left field line. Harmon trying to get the 3rd out of the 3rd inning with a 2-0 lead to the Knights. Tried to go outside on the corner, did not get the call. Pitch is popped up on the infield. Michaela Johnson right there puts it away. Out number 3. We'll go to the bottom of the 3rd. Southern Virginia on top here, 2-0. Knights are ready to hit here in the bottom of the third inning. Southern Virginia on top 2-0. Megan Harmon has pitched 3 shutout innings. And now the Knights here in the bottom of the third inning will go to work trying to put some runs together to give Megan Harmon more than just a 2-run lead.
Yeah, and I think the Knights have done a good job. They've left a couple on base, so they definitely have some left over that they're looking to get. And I think with the way Potter's been pitching, they've gotten quite a few foul balls and a few good hits.
First pitch fouled out of play. Jordan Stites, the hitter. Terry Hilton is on deck. Stites, usually the left fielder, designated player today. Gets it towards shortstop. Bobbled. Stites will make it over to first base. He's got pretty good speed, and once that ball was bobbled by the shortstop, it was easily going to be an infield hit for Stites. So Stites is at first base, has good speed. Now Terry Hilton will come to the plate. And following her, Molly Gabbert, who also has the hit to right field back in the first inning that plated the 2 runs the Knights have on the board.
Yeah.
Knights hoping for a big inning. And Hilton drives the ball way over the left fielder's head all the way to the wall. Stites rounding second onto third, and she is going to try to score, and she is going to be out. Well, I really thought she was going to stop at, with nobody out, stop at third base. That would have put a second and third, nobody out, and Gabbert coming to the plate. And Stites, she got a really slow move around second base, and she was just getting into third base when the ball was starting to come in from the outfield.
Yeah, I'm not sure they should have waved her home there. It looked like she would have been pretty comfortable at third. I don't know that she expected Terry Hilton to be pushing that ball that far in the left field, but
especially with no outs. Maybe if it's like 1 or 2 outs, you take a chance as Gabbert pops it up, and it's going to be out of play.
I definitely agree, though. There's not you don't need to risk running that run home there. So I'm a little surprised they didn't keep her at third. It does allow Terry Hilton to move on to third, but I'm a little surprised they're swinging that run home.
So instead of second and third, no outs, the Knights have a runner at third, Hilton, with 1 out. Still a scoring opportunity here for Southern Virginia with Gabbert, the hitter. And then Michaela Johnson to follow. Gabbert pops it up, though. And the third baseman puts it away for the second out. And so now it's going to take a hit by Michaela Johnson to get Hilton home with 2 outs suddenly in the third inning.
And this is interesting as well because now that Terry Hilton's on third, we've seen she's very fast, one of the top base stealers for the Knights. So really a wild pitch here. Could be a run. So far, we haven't seen anything from Megan Potter.
And if you're Michaela Johnson, I guess with that speed at third base, and you've got pretty good speed as a hitter, I guess you could maybe look at some sort of sacrifice squeeze bunt with the idea, obviously, of getting a base hit.
Yeah, obviously that's the goal. I'd be interested in maybe push that one down the third base line, try to get the third baseman to pick it up. And in that amount of time, you can make it to first. Wouldn't be too surprised to see that, but we do have a good base runner on third, so who knows?
Michaela Johnson hoping to get this ball to the outfield as a base hit, and she rips it towards short. It's off the shortstop's glove for a hit. I don't know if they'll rule that an error, but it will be a stroke by Michaela Johnson that gets Hilton home to make it 3-0.
Looks like number 6, Allison Shockey, having a difficult time fielding now. And that's the second one she's bobbled. They've hit 2 right to her. So far, she's not quite able to come up with that one. Looks like may have a little discussion with her here. Just kind of get her mentally back in it.
Even if she's able to grab that ball, I don't know if she's able to get Michaela Johnson over at first base. It would have been a tough play to make.
Yeah, absolutely. But especially, it looked like she just came up too early. She was already in the process of making the throw before she had the ball.
Kaylin Barber is now the hitter. So the Knights lead 3-0 here in the third inning. Still 2 outs, and now a runner at first base. Barber's the freshman. Another freshman in Bethany Hudson is on deck. And then they'll go back to the top of the order. Popped up, and that's going to be the third out of the inning. The Knights get a run, though, and we'll go to the fourth inning with Southern Virginia leading here 3-0. Back to night softball. I'm Jim Bresnahan, joined by Sam Horman, and we are ready to bring you inning number 4 with the Knights leading Wilson 3-0 after 3 innings in this first game of this doubleheader. We'll have the first game for you, not webcasting game number 2, though, as the Knights have received 3 shutout innings so far from the right-handed pitcher in Megan Harmon. And Megan was really dominant in that third inning, setting down the Wilson Phoenix in order, and she's hoping for a similar inning here in inning number 4. Gets that pitch over for a strike. Knights got 2 runs home in the first inning on a Molly Gabbard hit, then scored their 3rd run in the 3rd inning. Harmon quick throw over and gets the first hitter for out number 1 here in the 4th inning.
That's good to see. Megan Harmon's had a couple of those. They just hit it right back to her. She makes the quick throw to first. The Phoenix, obviously, as we've talked about, a pretty shallow hitting team, but with Megan Harmon making plays like that, it's going to be real tough for them to get runners on base with that.
I believe that I can recall just one ball hit to the outfield. That was to right field for a double. Can't remember anything else going to the outfield. That ball is hit to shortstop. Hudson throws over, high throw, but they got the base runner for out number 2. Bethany Hudson again with a good field. Throw over, Gabbard makes the stretch. And 2 up and 2 away for Wilson here in the 4th inning.
Pretty quick 2 there by the Knights. Defense continuing to be a strong suit for them.
You know, Hudson's a really good shortstop defensively. Kayla Johnson, a really good second baseman defensively. I can remember a year or 2 ago, especially a couple of years ago, where the Knights really struggled with their defense at second and short. And those are 2 critical areas defensively for your baseball or your softball team.
Yeah, and as we saw in the bottom of the inning, last inning, that was, or in the top of the inning rather, that was a big part, as the shortstop not making a couple plays ended up getting a run for the Knights.
And Michaela Johnson makes that play for a very quick 4th inning for Wilson. Down in order, 1-2-3 for Megan Harmon. Will go to the bottom of the 4th with the Knights leading 3-0. Go bottom of the 4th inning. Southern Virginia on top, 3-0 over the Wilson Phoenix out of Chambersburg, Pennsylvania. And the Knights are ready to hit here in the bottom of the 4th inning with this 3-run lead.
It's like the catcher fixing her wristband here.
It looks like we are ready to go. Knights got 2 runs home in the 1st inning, scored a run in the 3rd. Hoping to add to that lead here in the 4th inning. Potter, the right-handed pitcher for Wilson, has gone all the way so far here in game 1. Got a doubleheader today. We will not webcast game number 2 for you, though. But imagine Peyton will get the start for the Knights. That ball hit to the outfield. And Hornberger, the center fielder, goes back and makes the catch. As Bethany Hudson gave it a ride, but it is hauled down in center field for the first out of the 4th inning.
That is a great hit by her. Unfortunately, just hung in the air a little bit too long, and center fielder able to get under it.
And now Terranova, who is 2 for 2 so far in this game, both hits to center field. And with 1 out, she'll try to get on base again. Takes a slow pitch for a called strike.
Potter trying to get that changeup in there.
Harmon's on deck, then Rigby. Rigby has struck out twice today so far. Knights are hoping to get something going with 1 out here in the 4th inning. And that pitch was high. Terranova's got some good power. She almost had a homer against Guilford on Wednesday in game 1, which would have perhaps been the difference in that ball game. Hit it within a foot or two of going out from center field, but it stayed in the park, and the Knights went on to lose that game in 8 innings on Wednesday in game 1 of a doubleheader. And Terranova puts this ball high to center field. Hornberger is there to make the catch, and quickly 2 gone for the Knights in the 4th inning. And now Megan Harmon, the pitcher, will be the hitter, the number 2 hitter for the Knights, with nobody on base and 2 gone here in the 4th inning.
Those are 2 deep hits by the Knights. Those are pretty far back and forcing the center fielder to make some plays. So that's the first time Terranova hasn't gotten on base today, but she does continue to hit those pretty far out.
Rigby's on deck, be followed by Stites and then Tara Hilton. If Megan Harmon can get on here with 2 outs in the 4th inning. Takes the ball low. Megan's thrown 4 shutout innings. So she is 9 outs away from giving the Knights their 3rd win of the year. They came in 2-8 on the season to this doubleheader, and Megan Harmon hits it right to the shortstop, who grabs it for the 3rd out. A quick inning for the Knights. We'll go to the 5th inning. It is Southern Virginia 3 and Wilson nothing. Megan Harmon has thrown 4 shutout innings so far. We go to the top of the 5th. It is Southern Virginia 3, Wilson nothing. Got a doubleheader today. We will not webcast the 2nd game for you. The Knights with this 1st game of the doubleheader, hoping to pick up win number 3 on the season to improve to 3-8. They've got another doubleheader coming up on Saturday against Karn. So again, a lot of doubleheaders. If the Knights can dodge the rain, and I guess in this case, Sam, maybe some snow.
It is a possibility. The forecast has a little bit for them, so nobody wants to play in that. Obviously, a little bit too much. They may not have a game, but hoping to avoid that and just play like they have today. Really pretty consistent.
Yeah, got some snow in the forecast Sunday into Monday. Depending on the track, I guess it could be anywhere from maybe 1 to 10 inches. Megan Harmon again throwing 4 shutout innings, and the last 2 innings have been really a breeze compared to the first 2 innings when Wilson was able to get runners on base. Cranks up that pitch too high. And Megan's done a pretty good job, Sam, of allowing her defense to really come to her effort, allowing at times Wilson to hit the ball on the ground, And that ball is hit to the outfield and making the play in left field for the Knights. Good play there by Madison Rigby. Again, Madison Rigby has been getting a lot of starts at third base, getting the start in left field today. That ball came to her on a line, and she was able to react well and stay in front of it.
And I think that's great by her because, as we've seen so far, she hasn't had a great day at the plate today, but it's good to see her keeping the defense out there. Makes a good play there.
So 1 out here in the 5th, called strike. Megan Harmon just seems to be really on fire right now, in a groove, and she is 8 outs away from victory. Kale is the hitter. That pitch was up and away, so it's 1-1 on the hitter. And that one's low. It's 2-1 on the hitter now.
I think she just needs to come back with something right down the middle here.
This is the Wilson player, of course, earlier in the game that was at third base and got hit by a foul ball by her teammate, but stayed in the game. And she takes ball 3. Harmon has not had any real problems today finding the strike zone and issuing walks. And she is in danger of walking this hitter with 1 out in the 5th inning.
Yeah, this is a little bit inconsistent from her so far. She's been so good on the day. Can't get every batter, I guess, but.
And she walks that hitter, so 1 on, 1 out. And now Horn is the hitter.
Next up.
Be something if Horn ripped down the first baseline in foul territory and hit Kale again.
Now, if she was in foul territory, that would be what would make that interesting. So
yeah,
they're definitely hoping to avoid that. I'm sure that foot's still feeling a little bit of something, but hopefully they can avoid that. And if she did get hit in fair territory this time, it would be an out. So
we'll see if there's any change here. If she's going to come out from first base, and they might be sending in a pinch runner. Horn is the hitter. And it looks like they're going to sub Kale and bring in another runner at first base.
This is smart for a couple of reasons here. Obviously, we've addressed the foot is not feeling great, and I think bringing on a pinch runner, they really need to get some runs here. They don't have too many more innings to do so, and I'm sure that's why Emily Sprague is coming in.
Horn has decent power, the hitter. There is 1 out here in the 5th inning. And Megan Harmon is trying to preserve her shutout in the 5th inning of work with a 3-0 lead. So Wilson adding some speed on the base pass at first base with 1 out and a runner at first. Foul ball there. 0-1 on Horn, the hitter. To be followed by the right fielder, Roth. Megan Harmon taking a time here, trying to get the hitter out with 1 out and a runner at first base. And a called strike. So now 2 strikes on Horn. Megan Harmon has had some strikeouts today, and she's played good defense herself.
Yeah, and you can see number 13, Emily Sprague, that pinch runner really testing Terranova. We've seen Terranova throw people out at third. She's definitely got the arm for it, so I'm a little bit nervous for Sprague on first.
That's a called strikeout. Throw down. They got her. And it's going to be a double play. And it almost looked like, Sam, that Sprague slid a little bit too early and almost never got to second base.
Yeah, I don't think she touched it.
So the Knights get the 3 outs here in the 5th inning, and we go to the bottom of the 5th with the Knights still on top here as Southern Virginia 3 and Wilson nothing. We're going to the bottom of the fifth inning. Megan Harmon has now thrown 5 shutout innings, and her team is on top. Southern Virginia leading Wilson 3-0 as we go to the bottom of the fifth inning.
Rigby, number 5.
Madison Rigby, the leadoff hitter. Rigby to be followed by Stites. And Rigby pops it up. And Madison having a tough day hitting the ball. Struck out a few times and now pops to the third baseman for the first out of the fifth inning. And now Jordan Stites will be the hitter, followed by Tara Hilton.
That's a little bit surprising that she hasn't had any hits for the day. She's had quite a few foul balls. She put that one into play. Really, she hasn't been off from Potter's pitching, but just hasn't managed to connect the way she would want to. And unfortunately, gives up the first out of the inning there.
Now Jordan Stites hits it towards short. Field thrown over. Good play by the Wilson defense that time for out number 2, and suddenly 2 quick outs for the Knights here in the fifth inning. They've got that 3-0 lead, Sam, but I'm sure Megan Harmon and the coaches would love to see maybe 2 or 3 more runs on the board.
Yeah, absolutely. Get a little more security, but unfortunately, Allison Shockey there coming up big for the Phoenix. She had a couple, I think the second one was an error. The first one just bobbled it a little bit. Wasn't able to make the throw, but she's really turned it around and made that out strong there.
Now Tara Hilton comes to the plate, swung on a miss. Hilton has good speed, so if she can get on, she'll give Gabbert, the on-deck hitter, a chance. Knights again got 2 runs in the first inning on a Gabbert hit. Picked up a run in the third. And that ball hit to right field, and it looks like it is going to be ruled fair. It was close to the line. And Hilton able to put that apparently right on the line for a single.
That's pretty much as close as you're going to get keeping that ball fair. Gets a good single out of that one.
Now your question is, Hilton's got good speed. Of all the Knights on the team, I think she's probably your top stolen base threat. With 2 outs, do you send her to get her into scoring position for Gabbert?
I think I would. She's done pretty well on the bases, as you mentioned, this season. Also, we haven't really seen the catcher be tested today so far. It seems like maybe not the strongest arm, so any chance I get, I'd be sending her.
And Gabbert fouled off that pitch. And if you're going to send her, you got to send her early because you want her to be in position on a Gabbert swing. Ideally, a hit to the outfield, and at second base, she can score. At first base, a regular single to the outfield, and she obviously will not score.
Yeah, definitely. I think really they need to get around. They're looking for a couple extra runs here despite being up 3-0.
Not running, though. Not on that pitch, at least. It was low. 1-1 on Gabbert.
That's unfortunate. That would have been the one to steal on. I don't think that throw could have been made in time.
The count on Gabbert. Hit to second and bobbled right off the second baseman's glove into center field, and they rule, I guess, an out.
Looked like it may have hit Tara Hilton.
Yeah, it did hit Hilton.
Yeah.
It did hit Hilton on the base pass, and that is going to be the 3rd out of the inning. So Hilton is hit by the ball by Gabbert. That's the 3rd out, and the Knights do not score in the 5th inning. And we're going to go to the 6th inning. It is Southern Virginia leading here 3-0. We're going to the 6th inning, and the Knights lead 3-0 over Wilson. It's been all Megan Harmon and the defense for the Knights, as the Knights were able to score 2 runs in the first, 1 in the third, and their offense has been kept at bay since then. But Megan Harmon has really been strong, and now she'll go to the 6th inning with a 3-0 lead.
Yeah, I think the defense for the Knights is really what's kept them in the game. They've made a few pretty key plays and pretty much managed to keep the Phoenix off the board.
The right fielder Roth is the hitter, and she takes a strike. Now Megan Harmon just 6 outs away from getting the victory, which would be the 3rd of the year for Southern Virginia. They came in 2-8 on the season, and Wilson 0-3 on the season. Swing and a miss there, and quickly 2 strikes on Roth, the bottom of the order hitter.
That's a great pitch there. It looked like it was a little bit outside, so for a slap hitter like this, she's really got to reach to make that because she's making the motion down towards the first base line. Megan Harmon throwing a great pitch there.
Pitch is fouled back on a bunt attempt. You wonder with an 0-2 count if she might try that outside again.
Yeah, I absolutely would. Being ahead like this is the time to test it. Got a couple pitches to give up, so I'm throwing that same pitch again if I can.
Popped up, and it is out of play, and almost an effort by the shortstop, Hudson. I thought that was a foul ball, but maybe she touched it in fair territory. Hudson tried to dive for the catch and couldn't get it. They were going to rule a double, apparently, and so we've got the runner at second base with nobody else.
It was a little hard to tell on that one.
Yeah, it was hard to see over there towards the left field line. If Hudson diving for the ball, she wound up in foul territory, but she must have touched it, obviously, in fair territory, and she almost grabbed that ball. Great effort by Bethany Hudson. So Roth is at second base, nobody out.
Looked like
and
Hudson,
now Hornberger, the hitter.
Hudson may have taken a little tumble there. She was kind of getting up a little gingerly, moving her neck around. She may have hit her head a little bit on that one.
And I'm guessing if she doesn't make that dive, that ball still would have probably hit into fair territory. So we'll see how Megan Harmon battles back from giving up an opening double here in the 6th inning. With the top of the order now at the plate for Wilson. Hornberger takes a called strike on the outside corner. Megan Harmon's done a pretty good job, at least in the first couple of innings, of putting runners on base and then getting out of the jams by getting pop-ups and, in some cases, strikeouts.
Yeah, that's really been the story that's kept them in, is even though they do give up a couple of runs, get a few people on base.
High pitch that time. Well, she'd love to get the strikeout here. Roth has decent speed at second base. Hornberger, the hitter, has good speed.
That was pretty clearly a design play there by the Phoenix. Looks like it wasn't executed because the pitch was a little bit up and away, but I think the third base coach a little bit upset with her base runner and not making that.
Good bunt. And they're not going to get the runner at first base. It's going to be a bunt for a hit. It's first and third. Boy, Hornberger put that dead in that ball right in front of the plate with the speed she's got. No way to get her at first base. And suddenly the runners are at the corners. Nobody out. And the Knights are going to call a timeout and talk it over. They've only got a 3-run lead here. It's first and third. They'd love to keep the shutout, Sam, but obviously the most important thing is keeping the lead. So they really can't worry too much about the runner at third base. They've just got to worry about getting outs.
Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate in this situation, but we have seen before, as we saw a few innings ago, once they send that runner to second, Terranova has the arm to throw it down to third at that point. So I mean, you don't want to be testing the catcher here. She's proven that she can make the play she needs to. So.
Although, you got to believe that's going to be the call here.
Yeah.
I would think for the Phoenix, they're down by 3. They've got to get some runners into scoring position. They've already got one. They want to get both of these runners into scoring position. Hornberger already stole a base in the first inning, and I would imagine she'll go, and they might try the double steal, but at this point, I would imagine Roth over at third base will not do what Hornberger did in the first inning. She won't stray too far off of third. They're going to try to get runners at second and third with nobody out.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you can tell she's going to be stealing. That may be something the Knights have to give up. Try to get the runner at third maybe, but yeah, if they're smart, they'll keep her close to the bag.
And just really worried about the hitter as Hornberger will take the steal. And they actually throw down the runner at third base, making no effort to go to home plate. So now it's second and third. Still nobody out for the Knights here in the 6th inning. And now Megan Harmon really has to battle to try to preserve the shutout or just get enough outs where they go into the 7th with the lead. It's 3-0 Knights, but 2 runners are in scoring position. The ball's bunted to hit the bat. And it is going to be an out, I believe. Yep, going to be an out. The ball hit the bat. If the bat had not gotten into the way, that could have been really some problems there, Sam, for the Knights.
Yeah, absolutely. Looked like she did try to do a pretty dead bunt there, just like we saw with the previous batter, but it did bounce back up, hit her bat. Really saved the Knights a little bit there. They'd had a hard time playing that one.
Might have been bases loaded, nobody outs, because I would imagine the Knights would have fielded the ball and not attempted the throws. So it's The runner at third just gets back in time. Good throw down by Terranova. So it's second and third, still one out, and still 3-0 Knights.
See, and that's a tough play there because now they have to respect the bunt, bring the third baseman in. Caitlin Barber there, if she'd have been on the bag, I'm sure she could have gotten an out there, but you do have to respect the bunt, so she's got to be a little bit farther away from the runner. Wasn't able to get the tag on that one.
And for Megan Harmon right now, she's just thinking strikeout or going to pop up with one out. Not really worried about, giving up that first run, just trying to get the second out. And that pitch just popped to left field and out of play. As Rigby gave chase, but it hit the fence and bounced out.
Would have helped the Knights a lot if they could catch that one and play it, but.
Although that would have probably turned into a sac fly. I'm sure Megan Harmon would love to get the pop up on the infield or maybe perhaps a strikeout.
Definitely a strikeout ideal here, but you'll take what you can get. They could give up one run. They're still 3 runs up, but obviously you don't want to give up any at all, so preserve the shutout.
Hit on the ground to short. Hudson's coming home with it, and they get her. Wow, gutsy play by Bethany Hudson. I thought she was going to go to first, and she went home with that ball, and they got the runner Roth at the plate to still preserve the shutout. That was first and third, 2 outs. What a fantastic throw by Bethany Hudson, and a good play at the plate by Heather Terranova, the catcher.
Absolutely. If that would have been thrown anywhere else, I'm not sure they could have gotten the tag, but she threw it nice and low. Terranova's in a good position to put the tag down, keep the runs off the board.
2 outs, first and third. And now Megan Harmon will try to get the third out to keep that shutout alive heading into the 7th inning. Pitch is high. By just the decision by Barber. Now maybe Hudson, maybe she thought perhaps if she throws over to first she's not going to get her, and maybe she actually thought the throw home was the better choice.
And looking back, I think it definitely was. She knew she had the arm for it, so that's a smart play.
Pitch is low. Good play there by Terranova to keep it in front of her.
A little surprised we didn't see the runner from first advance to second there. Even if it's a little bit risky, they have an out to give, and they have a runner on third. So
and again, they're down by 3.
Yeah, they got to start scoring here. They've only got 2 more chances at this.
Harmon's pitch is outside. Doesn't want to walk this hitter to load the bases. Megan wants to change the pace of softballs, and she wants to regroup here and go to work on this hitter, trying to get the third out of the 6th inning. That one is low, and it's a walk, so the bases are loaded with 2 outs here in the 6th inning.
That's a really tough one as it loads up the bases. We haven't really seen too many walks from Megan Harmon today. A little bit uncharacteristic, but I'm sure, as she's proven before, she gave up a wild pitch and they came back and struck him out, so she definitely can keep her head in the game, but we'll need something big from her here.
And Jenna Carty, the freshman, right-handed hitter, comes to the plate with a chance to be a hero. Bases loaded, 2 outs. If she can put this in the gap, who knows? It could be a tie game. Megan Harmon's thinking third out of the inning here in the 6th inning, though. Pitch is low, throw down, runners back. Do not want to walk this hitter. That would walk in a run. Right now, Megan Harmon 4 outs away from getting the victory. But the bases are loaded here in the top of the 6th inning. And that one was hit just ahead to the right side, over past Gabbert, and foul down the right field line. Ooh, that was close.
That's really glad they're foul there. Knights definitely appreciative of that call, but that easily would have scored 2, probably 3, given the speed we've seen from some of the Phoenix runners. So that's a tough one. And now Megan Harmon in the mental game a little bit, knows the batter's got a pretty good stick here, so can't give up anything too easy.
Has to come into her. Doesn't want to walk her. Megan Harmon looking for the pitch from the dugout. The pitch decision, and that one is high. Megan Harmon in a real tough situation here.
Got to get a strike.
And we'll see if Carty, the hitter, swings away on this pitch. Got it over for the strike.
That's right, what she needed there. She looked like she was waiting for the signal, a little bit confused maybe, but that's exactly the kind of pitch she needed.
And now this is a really big pitch coming up here for the Knights with a 3-0 lead in the 6th inning, trying to get the 3rd out of the inning. Wilson looking for a hit to score some runs to get back in the game. Could be the ball game right here. Ball is hit to second. Johnson will throw it over to short, and they get the force out. So the shutout remains for the Knights. We'll go to the bottom of the 6th. It is still Southern Virginia 3 and Wilson nothing.
In the top of the 6th, the Phoenix had 0 runs off 2 hits, 0 errors, and they left 3 on base.
Back to Knights softball. Jim Bresnahan joined today by Sam Horman, bringing you all the action of the Knights and the Wilson Phoenix. Wilson out of Chambersburg, Pennsylvania. We're going to the bottom of the 6th inning. Knights lead 3-0. Megan Harmon working on a shutout. She's 3 outs away from victory in the top of the 7th.
Yeah, and she's been super consistent so far, and I think really, again, the Knights defense can't credit them enough despite having runners on. Quite frequently they leave them on at the end of the inning, and that's really all that matters. Haven't let any crossover home plate, so they're defending that shutout pretty well.
Yeah, Michaela Johnson making that play at the very end of the 6th inning to get the force out at second. And of course, maybe the play of the game defensively was turned in by Bethany Hudson, shortstop throwing a runner from 3rd out at home. And defensively, you could probably argue that might be the play of the game.
Yeah, I definitely think so. The throw from Hudson or the force out at second there.
Because if she doesn't get her, it's 3-1, and who knows how that ending turns out.
Yeah, absolutely. And Hudson, they were definitely pretty close with a foul ball down the first base line as well, but kept Phoenix off the board.
Swung on and missed. 2 quick strikes, and of course, going back to the 1st inning, Terranova getting a pickoff at 3rd base that picked off Hornberger. And of course, Wilson had base runners in the first couple of innings of this game and did not score, and they still haven't scored.
Yeah, I think that really set the tone for the Knights for the rest of the game. They basically followed Terranova's lead, defending all the bases.
There's a strikeout. Start the bottom of the 6th inning for the Knights.
Next up,
that was kind of an interesting swing there. It looked like some off-speed pitches coming at her, and she wasn't quite ready for it. It seemed like kind of threw her hands. Ball was a little bit slower than she expected. First swing was pretty good, but then I think the next 2 pitches slowed down a little bit. Now Potter just got ahead of her.
So Michaela Johnson strikes out, and now Kaylin Barber, the hitter, with 1 out here in the bottom of the 6th inning. That one's out of play. Bethany Hudson, the on-deck hitter, and then the top of the order. Knights would love to get a couple more runs for Megan Harmon, really give her a nice cushion heading into the 7th inning, but they have no base runners so far here in the 6th and already one out. And it's a doubleheader today. We're only webcasting the first game. Imagine Melody Payton, the sophomore, will get the call to start game 2. She's been starting a lot of the second games of doubleheaders. In which case, I would imagine Megan Harmon will be used as the DP. Popped to right field. Roth got a late start, and it lands for a base hit.
I think that ball kind of slowed down. I think the right fielder thought it was going to go a little bit farther than it did, and it just kind of stopped and barely made it out of the infield.
Yeah, not sure if the wind knocked it back a little bit, but it looked like Roth wanted to make sure it didn't get over her head, and it looked like she was pretty confident Sam was going to come right out to her, and by the time she realized that was going to land at short right field, she just was not able to get there.
Yeah, I think so. It looked like, I thought she had a play on it, but it just came out of the air a little bit faster than she thought.
So 1 on, 1 out here in the bottom of the 6th. Bunt attempt. Bethany Hudson is the hitter. Maybe the star defensively today for the Knights. She would love to advance Barber from first to second with a base hit and then turn it over to Heather Terranova at the top of the order.
Yeah, I think that would be a best case scenario. Terranova's really hit some pretty deep balls today, so I think that'd be a great start for the Knights.
Bunt attempt, foul. Bethany Hudson, the hitter, freshman. Caitlin Barber, the first base runner, also a freshman. Hudson showing bunt. See if she swings away here. Does, and strikes out.
Again, looks like that off speed. Knights hitters kind of throwing their hands toward that pitch there. Looks like Potter's finally trying to figure out some of the Knights bats here.
Now Heather Terranova comes to the plate. She got a couple of hits in her first 2 at-bats. Shots that went into center field. 2 outs, and Barber is the base runner at first base for Southern Virginia. Terranova hits that ball to the outfield, to left field. Center fielder is going to take it for the 3rd out, and we will go to the 7th inning with the Knights hoping to get 3 more outs to wrap up a 3-0 victory. It is Southern Virginia 3 and Wilson nothing. Jim Bresnahan and Sam Horman back here for the top of the 7th inning. The Knights are 3 outs away from victory here in Game 1 of this doubleheader against Wilson. The Wilson Phoenix out of Chambersburg, Pennsylvania. Megan Harmon's throwing a shutout. And in the top of the 7th, she needs 3 more outs to claim victory. Would be the 3rd victory of the year for the Knights.
I'd be surprised if we saw anything but consistency here from the Knights defense, though. They've just done wonders today. Everybody's making plays that really just kept the Phoenix off the board and really kept Megan Harmon pitching some pretty good strikes. So I'd be surprised if the Knights gave up anything big here.
To bat, number 6, Allison Shockey.
Shockey's the hitter. She's the shortstop, and she bounces that one foul, so 2 strikes on her. Well, the Wilson Phoenix, certainly, they've had their chances today, especially the first couple of innings when they had base runners. And that 6th inning, when they had a base runner thrown out at the plate, they just have not been able to get anything across.
Yeah, and then also left the bases loaded a couple of times there.
Punched to Michaela Johnson. Quick throw over. 2 outs to go.
Up next, number 19, Jennifer Kale.
That's pretty much what we've seen from the Knights all day today. Michaela Johnson making the play there. We've seen other good plays from Bethany Hudson at short. Really done a good job.
Jennifer Kale comes to the plate. Horn, the on-deck hitter. Knights need 2 more outs for victory. Again, this is a doubleheader today, but we're only webcasting the first game. I'm sure Melanie Payton will probably get the call to start in game number 2 for the Knights, who also have a doubleheader coming up on Saturday against Karn. Southern Virginia came in with a record of 2-8 on the season, looking for win number 3 here. That pitch is outside. Phoenix, they came in 0-3 on the season. Hit to right field. Helms back, makes the catch, and now 2 gone. And Helms doing a good job in right field. She's been playing a lot of center field this season so far, but in right field that she was able to get right in front of that ball.
I think we've seen almost every single position from the Knights be almost perfectly well executed today. We haven't really seen any errors from them. Pretty much everybody making plays.
And now Megan Harmon needs 1 more out for a shutout. 3-0 Knights with 2 gone in the 7th inning. Horn, the hitter. And Roth, their right fielder, is on deck.
This is a great position to be in here for Megan Harmon. She's been so on it today. She just needs a couple of strikes, maybe a little bit of help from her defense.
And she got the swinging strike there.
As you mentioned, she may or may not be pitching in game 2. We've seen Melanie Payton come in game 2 a lot, so really she's trying to leave it all on the field here, throw some heat.
Hoping to get win number 3 of the season for the Knights, and that ball is hit to the gap, and it's going to be all the way to the wall. Going to be at least 2 bases. Horn going into second base and makes it for a double, so 2 gone. Horn showing good power to the opposite field. Goes to right center for a double, 2 outs. And now the right fielder for Wilson, Roth, will come to the plate with a runner at second base and 2 outs.
Ashley Horn.
See if we have a pinch runner and maybe even a pinch hitter. Wilson trying to make any moves they can here with 2 outs in the 7th inning, trying to get some offense going. Got a double from Horn all the way to the right center field gap. Looks like we're going to have a pinch hitter.
Yeah, they really got to find a way to get 3 runs pretty quick here, so they take what they can get.
Amber Rexroad, a freshman, will be the hitter.
Amber Rexroad.
Horn stays out there at second base. And again, Megan Harmon just needs 1 more out for the shutout victory. That one's high and away. Hit on the ground. Harmon grabs it, and that is it. A shutout victory for Megan Harmon and the Knights. They wrap up a Game 1 win here, Sam, 3-0, and you can really credit this victory to Megan Harmon's pitching and the defense of the Knights.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the perfect way to end the game. Megan Harmon making the play there. We saw her so consistent in the pitching, and then anytime she gave up anything on the ground, the defense for the Knights really just coming in well. We saw great plays from the shortstop, third baseman, second baseman, left field, right field, almost everybody making good plays. First baseman making all the catches. We saw Terranova throw people out at third, really test the runners. So pretty much a great all-around team performance from the Knights today, and hardly anything to fault them for, not giving up any runs. We didn't see any errors, so really that's a pretty well-executed game aside from maybe a couple of hitting things.
And I know Coach Tiffany Pendleton would like to win Game 2, maybe get a doubleheader sweep against Karn coming up on Saturday, and really start to rack up some wins as they are still a few weeks away, Sam, from a Capital Conference play.
Yeah, but, I mean, they look like they're getting there. They're really preparing for it, so this is pretty much a good example of what they can try to accomplish in the future.
So congratulations to Megan Harmon and the Southern Virginia defense and the Knights for picking up win number 3 of the season. Again, they defeat Wilson today in Game 1 of this doubleheader. Final score again, Southern Virginia 3 and Wilson nothing. For Sam Horman, I'm Jim Bresnahan. Thanks again for joining us, everyone, today for Knights Softball.